welcome back to World of Warcraft Cataclysm Classic Blind. And the most scuffed episode you're ever gonna see. How do I know this? That's because this is post-commentary. Because my audio settings messed up somehow. It didn't change anything. I don't know. Here we are, Zolomon. Everybody's already in the dungeon. We had a lot of problems even getting in here, for reasons that I did figure out here. Could not enter the zone while an encounter was in progress, because they were fighting a boss, and then somebody got kicked, and now they're all confused about where they want to go and complaining about everything. Specifically, I'll leave out here. Complaining about other people doing interrupts and doing damage and not even knowing who's in the group because there's a new person coming in. Everybody else wants to go this way towards a boss that I probably need to go and do that. While the other complaining guy wants to go the other way that's longer to go around and refuses to go this way. And so we get a kick player option here. Could have went with yes. Might have went better for us, honestly. Especially with what we're trying to do here, which is free the other two captive scouts. Which at this point, I really need to just go and look at where these two scouts are at. So I can better communicate to potential future group that actually knows what's going on and isn't complaining so much about where we might want to go. They think that going this way would be a huge waste of time. I think this is the dungeon where we constantly try to run past a bunch of things. Is that a different one? Now that was a huge waste of time. Everybody just constantly dying and it not working at all. But anyways, this dungeon is honestly kind of a mess. All the different paths and shortcuts that people take, jumping around things. It's like, is it this way? Is it that way? I don't know. We'll figure it out somewhat. Got our well-fed buff going again there after waiting for a significant amount of time. Last time and this time. Well, to be fair, last time didn't even happen because we were waiting for too long of a time and then I had to get going. So here we are, grabbing all the enemies here without everyone even showing up to fight. They are impatient, but also want to go the long way. So, I don't know. We get there eventually. And by there I mean the end of the dungeon. But for the time being, we're just fighting guys. So yeah. This is the dungeon. Actual fighting just the things, not even really a problem. Surely we would have been fine the other way. Real question is, who got kicked before I got here? Or was it even two people? Hard to say. Could look back to see if there's anybody else that even was in here. We were so quickly just through the action here, I didn't even get a chance to look at the group here. We got me, Dwarf Warrior, Hester, Levi, Helena, and it went acceptably. But this whole time until sacrifice thing, that's probably fine too. We're just not gonna worry about it. Speed is not the main concern. Yeah, I guess this is definitely one of the bosses of all time. I'm not sure which bosses we managed to defeat to save two people the first time. Might have ended up just going back and looking at what we did our other time here in Zolomon. Or if it even was just the other time. This is Bird Boss guy. And this I think was new. Because you would remember a whole bunch of birds swooping down. That's pretty distinctive. Oh yeah. Just doing damage, as we do. DPS and all that. fighting the largest bird when it shows up. Swinging around, knocking the other birds out of the sky. Got the very useful skull icon on the enemy we need to fight. It's all pretty good. That's all pretty functional. An electric storm coming off of that guy up in the sky. Seems to be pretty much fine. Some mechanics we just continue to not worry about, realistically. And if we don't die, everything's fine. There's another larger bird. It's a kidnapper. I would rather not be kidnapped. It's probably a smart thing to not do. Gotta deal with that. Huh. So yeah, we defeat the bird boss. And as you might expect, we got some loot we really don't need. We're really kind of past this in terms of gear and stats and everything. Here's where I look around, see if I can find the captive. It is a Kalazu.
Assist me.
I think it was a Kalazu. I think we already saved that one then, previous time. Again, I think I'm just going to look up where these last two guys are. I think we managed to find them the first time, or just determine where they were based on the bosses we didn't defeat. I think we did defeat that one before. Anyways, so we jumped down a waterfall, skipping sections, running around places, going past a few enemies, climbing up some stairs in the middle here towards the back. I'm not sure what they accomplished in their group. I think it was I think while we were trying to get in, having a hard time, being all confused, they were down defeating the southwestern boss. Because that boss was still dead when we came back. Looked at later. And then, just gonna heal up here. Good to be full health. Sneaking around the other enemies inside of this temple here. Everybody shows up so we can start with the group. And just find the boss back at the back here. Once again, high quality target information. Kill the skull guy first, then the X guy, and then the main boss. Check out the helpers here. Healing, doing stuff. Doing some. Knocking away their abilities and such. All works out nicely. Pummeling them. In theory. Some quick firebolts there. He's dead now. And this boss is blocking the door to the end. Again, we're going to presume we already did this one in a previous Zolomon. That's alright. Gets the job done. Take a whole bunch of damage. Heal myself a bit. Use a bandage even. Very good stuff. And get bonked. So it's good that we did all that healing, my goodness. We do what we can here. We have the best bandages, so do what we can. And then it's just DPS mostly. Abilities that you can't just knock off of them is always unfortunate. Spirit bolts. Alright. But yeah, a few million health on the bosses with an actual group. Pretty doable. Which really makes me think, if we could just grab any random dungeon group and plop them into the TPC raids that we need, I feel like it would probably be pretty doable. Even if that would still be 1/5 of the people that would realistically be required. And here we are, stopping them all. Because these guys are not elite. 23,000 health. Kind of insignificant. Okay. Continuing on. Also not even entirely sure if they had the loot settings set to something different, because I don't think I looted any regular enemies. Not that we fought very many regular enemies, we kind of just ran past a lot of stuff. That's alright. Yeah, they are complaining about the interrupts still. This is the other way, which is also fine. This was fine. And next boss, which is kind of the last boss, which we can determine just based on how things go here. Get in, everything going. Run away from a whirlwind a little bit. In generally a good plan. That's alright. Huh. Get the sunders nice and sundered. The boss nice and weakened. Do some damage. And this guy uses his whole animal forms. This is definitely the last boss. We definitely did this one before. So, that's alright. One problem that I do see us facing in the future here is queuing up for only one of these dungeons. It's already a significant wait in order to just get into one of the Zandalari dungeons. To get into a specific one would be even more challenging. Either that, or it's actually be the same difficulty, since we would just be in the one that ends up happening anyways. So, I don't know. Give me Phoenix form, Firehawk form here. There's a lot of fire stuff. Looks like the ghost lions are still here too. I think we can get rid of those. I don't really have the health bar or anything. They might. He's dead though. Boss down. Not worried about the drops. Well, that's alright. And need it on the Chaos Orb. Of course. Need it. Use it. Make another sword, maybe sell it. Because we could definitely use a little bit more money. And we do win the Chaos Orb, which is great. And then, of course, the guy complains even more. Classic. I bet you don't even... No. Spoilers. Classic. Bet you don't even have blacksmithing. And then quits the group. Literally wielding the sword that I made with the Chaos Orbs.
All you want.
4 people needed for it. I don't know. It made by me. Wild. Wild stuff. Alright, look around. See if we can go rescue anybody or if they killed all the other bosses or something. The answer is no, as it turns out. But that's okay. He cried the whole time. Oh boy. What a situation. And now we're alone. So we will be able to explore this dungeon by ourselves. In theory. Unfortunately, with the way this dungeon's done, there's a lot of random enemies just left alive everywhere. And also just skipping a whole bunch of the bosses. With the way the dungeon's laid out, I don't think you would need to kill every boss. Clearly we just don't. And then we also just use the jumping off the stuff shortcuts to get to places. They killed, or whoever was in their group previously, killed the southwestern boss. Then we killed the northwestern boss, and then skipped straight to the end too here. So those might have just been the 2 that we rescued the previous time. Since this seemed to be a pretty efficient path when you're not trying to go and kill all the bosses. Because there's this one that's still up here. I'm pretty sure this guy was one that we didn't mess with the previous time either. Again, I'm just going to look to see where these 2 are at. And honestly, if we just came in here as the tank, we could have more sway on going to all the bosses without us being the tank, and I don't want to deal with that. Here we're trying to manage the invisible walls everywhere. See if we can get up to that boss platform to see if they have one of the guys that we needed to free. I think another problem with going into this dungeon that other people already partially cleared was the fact that this boss up here is dead. And there's this weird X. I'm not sure what this is. It's very fancy. A bunch of empty cages. So even if this somehow was one of the spots that we needed to rescue Rokani or Kasha, they wouldn't be here anymore since they were already released before we were in the instance, it seems. But yeah, there's another boss down there that we can't really get to because we were already talking about going that way and they refused, and then we went the other way. More invisible walls. Problems all over the place here. But yeah. With all of this skipping around, this honestly could be a challenge to complete the entire dungeon. Missed out on our opportunity to finish the mysterious bijou in the other dungeon last time. Because we didn't know how we needed to click on all the stuff around. It was a bit more involved than just going up there and it just works out. All the things that you couldn't interact with for the mysterious bijou section area really made it more confusing than anything. Here we are, once again incapable of finishing what we came here for. Then we also got Valor and Hero or whatever points. Probably do something with some of those at some point here. We're still going to be in a situation where we're going to be queuing for both dungeons, because we haven't finished. I'm going to see if we can see who is up here. Can't really get a good angle on wherever they might be keeping a captive up here. And also might just be too far away that we can't really see it. And we really can't go around to it, because there's still all the enemies on the southern side. And we can't get past them. So, here we are. Definitely a situation. There's absolutely nothing we can do against on-level heroic dungeon bosses. We cannot manage that, even a little bit. Not even a little bit. So still very much need a group for this. We can't go there. They were already there. We can't go down there. There's enemies. Don't think we went over to that one because we didn't. Now we're going to try to go over to the north here. But previously we jumped down this way, so we didn't ever go this direction. So trying to go this way is a mistake. Because the lynxes knock us out here. And we're down. And then we are kicked out of the dungeon, which apparently, as we're going to find out here, we're still in the same quote-unquote group here, maybe? Or we're just the leader and now... Yeah, here he is. Your group has been disbanded. But somehow we're still here, even though the group has been disbanded. And the only reason we were able to come over to this area is because we were in the group. So now we were in a completely new instance of Zolomon. The doors are locked, all the enemies have respawned. There's no getting any more information than we previously had. Want to go up to there and see if we could free whoever's up there again, but we can't. Because reasons. We see there's 6 bosses. The last 2 were the last 2 bosses and didn't have a captive, as far as I can see. So it's definitely the other 4 that we need to get a captive from.
Spirits be with you, stranger.
Just need to do like a full run. But queuing up for just a random dungeon. The goal and reward is just finishing the dungeon. I think this one isn't even like a heroic quest somehow. so it gives even less reward. Could be difficult. Could be difficult. Now we're trying to ring the gong. I don't know if it needs to be at the same time or anything, so we're just slamming at it. Eventually works. I don't know. More people slamming on and eventually it'll open. I think eventually just by random it just works. Looks like it did. We're saved to the instance. I'll solve that later. So yeah. In terms of making progress on our goals, this was a failure. Which we learned when there's enemies here. Everybody back in the temple. Could you help with this? Everybody in the temple? All you guys with your weapons? Hello? No. They don't care. And then we're dead. Again. So yeah. New instance of the dungeon. No way that's gonna work out for us. Yep. We did get a Chaos Orb out of this, though, and some points or whatever. So not entirely a waste of time. Honestly, if we end up getting another Chaos Orb from trying to finish these dungeons more here, we might just go and try to get the last one. Even if it is, in theory, like a 1 in 5. Because most people are probably going to need on it. Yes, we do need it. Guess the question after that is, do we make the sword and try to sell it, or do we keep the sword? Because then we could have dual very nice swords. It's definitely an option here. Anyways, let's go and reclaim our corpse again. Should probably repair our equipment for next time. Multiple deaths and all that. Well, that's okay. But yeah. Overall, I'm gonna say, if we get into a situation where we are joining a group that had to, or just did, kick people, then the first thing that we see is trying to kick another person, it's not gonna go well. We might as well kind of just not worry about it. Likelihood of getting that group to go to all the bosses in there and finish the quest, even though there's multiple people with the quests in there, it was, yeah. Anyways, we will try again, hopefully with less waiting to just get into a group. Wild. Yeah. Next time. Goodbye.